I don't feel like an artistic genius, but I do feel a little calmer. Now, I don't know if this is self-evident, but I am running this channel completely unsupervised, and unsupervised as I am, I get to decide exactly what I do. And you know what I want to do? I want to write some poetry. Poetry, but make it stupid, make it totally silly, make it off the wall, make it intellectually illegible. If you didn't tune into my last poetry video and you don't know what's going on here, hi, I'm Lena, I am a poet, I have my first full-length collection coming out in July and I'm so excited. It's called Bargain Bin Rom-Com and you can pre-order it down there. But I made a video a few weeks ago talking about how I want poetry to be more like jogging. It's not just for the professionals, you don't have to be good at it, but people do it. Lots of people do it because it's genuinely just good for the soul, is actually fun. You don't have to be a world-class chess player to enjoy a board game on a Saturday night, and I want poetry to be more like that for people. For me, it's been like that. It's just been something fun I've done for like literally my whole life, and I was giving you some examples of different ways I come up with prompts for poetry, ways to get me thinking, because I often think that we have this idea of genius that is somebody who wanders in the fields and gets struck by inspiration and lightning, but often some of my favourite poems have come from the silliest of little ideas. So last time I did a whole week of writing poetry inspired by the names of lipsticks, and this time I thought maybe I could do nail varnish, maybe I could do something like that. But then I thought, look, we only get one life. I've only got a brief few, maybe 7, 8 decades on this planet. What am I doing? Not living my dreams. And my dream really is to write some poetry about stock footage. So I have a subscription to Storyblocks, not sponsored. I've just used them for years, and that's how I license a lot of the stock footage you see in my videos to demonstrate things, the backgrounds, that kind of thing. But I have a little fun folder where I pop all of the stock footage that I don't understand why it exists, but I enjoy it immensely. The stuff that really makes me giggle. If you've been on like stock photo or stock film websites before, you'll know what I mean. The stuff that's like, who commissioned this? I don't know whether they should fire you or give you a pay rise. So I've picked out some of the silliest ones that make me laugh the most, and I'm gonna use them to try and make some art. Will this fail spectacularly? Maybe, but it would seem that failing spectacularly on the internet is even more entertaining than actually succeeding. So I feel like this is a win-win for this week. Every single day this week, I'm going to be showing you a piece of stock footage, writing some poetry from it, and either you'll like the poetry or you'll feel like, frickin' hell, even I could do that, and then you pick up a pen and you do it. I see no losers in this scenario. So today is Monday, I'm starting off strong, I'm gonna show you the stock footage, and I'm not gonna sorry, I'm already laughing because I can't wait. I'm not going to play any music or any sound underneath them because I want you to experience the sheer awkwardness of each of these clips. Now this is Monday's clip, let's go. So that's what we're gonna work with. I hope they paid this model handsomely for this. Let's just see what I can come up with. I feel like I may have given myself a rather ambitious start for a Monday morning, but let's go. Okay, that was a bit of a tricky one to start off with, instant regret, but I think I've got something to show you. But before I read out what I've written, you might have noticed that I popped these in my ears. These are my new writing BFFs Loop earplugs, and because downstairs right now, Craig is getting a lesson from my dad in power drilling, which I, as an agent of the patriarchy, have tapped out of, I'll be honest. Incredibly unfeminist of me, but thanks to Loop for sponsoring this video because I could not have written any of these poems without these things. So I wanted to take a quick moment to tell you a little bit more about them. Now, as you might know, I get a lot of sponsorship offers on my desk, and this is what I do with most of them. I'm also a lifelong avoider of earplugs. 1, because they're disposable and I'm not about that life. 2, they're usually not designed for tiny little hobbit ears like mine. And 3, I mean, they look like this. Like, what is that? So when Loop earplugs offered to send me some of their earplugs, I was like, I mean, you can try me, but I make no promises. However, I tried them and, dear reader, my life was changed. They're reusable, washable noise reduction plugs that come with 4 ear tip sizes. And okay, wait, look, I'll show you how I use them. I've got these quiet ones that I literally cannot sleep without. I use them for sleeping and also just like really, really noisy situations. I kind of refuse to sleep without them at this point. I'm kind of a bit of a diva about it. I lost one the other day and I nearly also lost my mind. I was like, how am I supposed to sleep in these conditions? They have a full silicone plug in them, and I really regret not having them in my London flats where everything was just unbearably loud from the neighbours, and also just generally living in London in general, it was so loud, and I think this would have made my life so much more bearable. However, my favourite ones are these experience plugs, and now I didn't know that this kind of plug existed. I keep these on my keys so I have access to them at all emergency times. So these plugs are designed to take the edge off sound, so I could still hear a conversation or like a train announcement, but that general sharpness of sound is removed and you can focus on things like, I don't know, writing poetry. They also kind of look like jewellery. They're so subtle. You can't even see them head on, and because I carry them on my keys, if I'm sitting in a cafe and people are having a loud bullshit conversation and I'm trying to write, or I'm in a supermarket and I'm trying to focus on what kind of stir-fry sauce I want, but the music they're playing is literally unbearable, or I'm on a train and there's loads of rowdy lads around, or like this happened the other day and there was this unbearable screaming baby and I wanted to be like a calm, caring, sympathetic citizen with the parents, but it was also making my eyeballs want to melt. That's when these earplugs have been game changers. I know they're also really, really helpful for parents, for people who like gigging and want to protect their ears, people who are sensitive to sound disruption for any kind of reason, people who occasionally have to share public spaces with incredibly annoying people and want to protect their creative calm. So if you want to also protect your ears and your sanity, I'm going to leave a link to them below so you can check them out for yourself. And because obviously you've got to secure you some bag as well, if you use the code LoopXLena, you're gonna get yourself 15% off. So if you've never tried earplugs before, or if you do and use disposable ones, these are a great alternative. I feel like these are gonna last me so long. They're my BFFs already. So thank you so much to Loop Earplugs for finding me, for making my life and my writing life so much calmer, and for supporting the channel. Who thought 2022 would birth Lena the earplug evangelical? But here we are. It's been an unprecedented time all around. Now let's crack on and see what fantastic drivel I've come up with this time. Okay, now we have funded the poetry. Let's hear some of it. This poem is called Small Fry. I wanted to write something that was kind of about being consumed and feeling like the only way you can have intimacy is if you are consumable. So let's see if I can make something sensible out of something silly. Small Fry. I'm drowning in delectables, an unprecedented spectacle. Slice me up to go, knowing anyone with sense would deep fry my bad bits, break them off from the whole, or unpick me completely to assemble me from scratch, conveyor belt cozy, looking out from a lunchbox, wondering if there are other ways to touch lips than while being consumed. I really liked the first 2 lines of this poem, and then I started writing it and I hated it and I rewrote it. So sometimes when you're drafting poetry, you'll see that actually half of the page is crossed out, and that's okay. And I think sometimes going with your instinct, if you've invented some lines you really like and you like the tone of them, just trust those ones and fight to find sentiments and words that will match them. I like the accidental imagery at the end of like only being touched by lips when you're being consumed, and I feel like I probably could have written something a little bit sillier, but there is plenty of time in this week to be silly, so no regrets, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, I don't know if today's clip is gonna translate. I find it funny, just in that I'm trying to work out in what capacity anybody would ever use this clip, but here it is. Is this a metaphor about endangered species? Is this somebody who turned up to a Halloween party and nobody else had had a costume? Is this an axe murderer waiting in the woods with a particularly cunning disguise? Any of the above. So I'm gonna write a poem about that. Wish me luck. Let's go. So the direction I went with this one was something to do with inconvenient truths, inconvenient things, either things we're embarrassed to have lost or things that become more awkward the more you think about them, but you can't hide them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that guy in the panda head hiding behind a tree, obviously not working, but he's trying to hide anyway. Is that human impulse to still attempt to hide what can't be hidden. So this is a poem about that. I hide from you like a bus pass, like an earring down the back of a sofa, like an unspoken pact in a basement, like the birthday of an ex on a calendar, like the fatal clause in a contract, like the hint of a smile on an enemy, like a snort at a funeral, like a beautiful song written by a bad person, like a tin of stolen shampoo bottles from places I was never present, like a life based on a badly translated verse, like the cancelled party plastic forks, the strawberry I had flown from Spain just to go bad in the back of my fridge, like a laugh-worthy wish, wide, behind a too small trunk. Sometimes I think it's just useful to just make a list poem. Like be like, let's list things that are awkward, but I think have like some kind of imagery or metaphor behind them. And I tried to make it exponentially worse as things went on. I like the progression of it. I think the progression could have been more stark. I could have started off with things that weren't very big deals, then ended with things that were really big deals, but because I was just kind of like free-forming it, they're kind of a bit mashed together. I think my favourite line is like a snort at a funeral, and that's definitely the vibe of the poem I'm going for. And if I was to rework this, I'd pull out my favourite lines, order them in big deal succession, and then write some more, like brainstorm around those things and see if I can assemble something more coherent. But I like the idea behind that, and that's the point in drafting stuff and just having a go, because that's something that I wouldn't have thought my brain would have come up with had I not set aside some time to tinker and be a little bit silly. So onwards. Okay, so I'm looking a little disheveled because I'm about to go out on a jog, but I was thinking about this concept I've heard about on the internet called habit stacking, where like if you want to try and make yourself do something, attach it to a habit you already have, and then like you'll automatically do it. So like drinking a pint of water after brushing your teeth or something like that. So I'm thinking maybe I could try a habit stack today where I do some poetry before I go out on a jog. Now today's clip is relatable content, and it goes like this. I don't know completely what the actor had in mind when he was coming in to shoot that clip, but I bet they had to do a few takes because they were like, no, sillier. Like he looks like he's about to laugh in that stock footage. So I want to write something about The Office. If you haven't watched my rat race video, you might not know, but I have many feelings about the pluses and minuses of an office. So first I'm going to open up my laptop and I'm just going to look for some email phrases, common email phrases, and I'm just going to riff from there. Godspeed to me. Good luck, Lena. Let's go. Okay, here is what we have. It's steaming with past frustrations from office life. It's probably not, like I like parts of it, but we'll just go. That's the point of this exercise, isn't it? Let's go. Hi there all. I hope this email finds you well, walks in on you in a towel, eating good toast, or knocks your door just as you finally match your winged liner or get that call. Just circling back to flag that your impromptu adoration is overdue. As discussed, we do require at least 3 instances of unprompted applause every quarter. We loved your mixtape of thanks to the company on June 15th. I've attached our feedback. The parts in blue are my comments. Oh, and HR have asked me to tell you that scheduling does allow for 1 hour of human moments per week. See attached for the complete list, but it has factors in excretion, self-doubt, mastication, only in the canteen, and longing. Please do not do this while operating office equipment. Best wishes to you and yours during this unprecedented but pivot-friendly time. Probably doesn't require much more explanation. I kind of wish I'd just gone with the idea of like where this email finds you, the kind of idea that like the email hasn't found you. I would almost like to write a poem like from the perspective of an email that can't find the person it's supposed to be being sent to, but that's an idea for another day. I'm pretty happy with that. I think it got out some emotions that I was keeping in, if not actually effective on the page, but that's the whole point. I feel enriched. I don't feel like an artistic genius, but I do feel a little calmer, and isn't that the whole freaking point? Now, for that jog. Good morning, we're in my conservatory. I am honestly barely awake, so I hope that you're excited for some dreamlike quality, subconscious, unfiltered poetry. Today I am going to be inspired, speak it into being, by this clip. Which is how my fever dreams make me picture every poetry recital I'm going to do this summer. So let's indulge that anxiety. I'm gonna pop my loop earplugs in because Craig is playing some music and it's very nice, but it's a bit loud. Okay, this is definitely just a bit silly. I definitely lean on rhymes when I'm tired. And I don't think the rhythm for this is quite right, but I think it's still called Play with Rhythm, and you can fix it later. So this is a very silly poem about being booed off stage. I don't know what I'm gonna call this. Umbrella Man? Let's go with that for now. Umbrella Man. Sometimes slow and simple wins the race. Umbrella Man. Sorry to bother you with my tip-tapping. That shuffle that's almost a pulse. Excuse my unscrewing of pen and nib dipping. It's not my intention to make you convulse. My apologies for twirling to cheer you. It's an impulse I ought to control. My bad for pinning stars to this gutter. It's just shrinking has taken its toll. See the shadows erode me like sequins, soft on the eye but rough to the touch. If I could stand being less, we'd be over this mess. I've always been a little too much. So let the tomatoes rot in their arc as they pirouette through the thin air. I've brought an umbrella and a song and a tether that's long. I'll be too busy spinning to care. Feels like a bit of a cheer up doc kind of poem, but not bad considering I'm barely conscious at this point. Time for a coffee, I think. But I think that poetry session has definitely cheered up my morning, and I look forward to the last day tomorrow. Okay, day 5. All the poets are in the bedroom. I've saved the best for last, people. I can actually see this stock footage playing on my computer and it's really messy. I can't even concentrate. I'm just gonna show you today's stockspiration. Who made this? And how can I pay them retrospectively for the joy it brings me? I don't know. Was this created before the pandemic or afterwards? Again, no answers, just questions. But like, it's this move that really gets me. And also like the way the scrubs are molded to the body has like a pervy, porny boy in basement designing computer game vibe to it. Just makes it even more inappropriate and weird. And I also like the idea of like NHS nurses actually doing this on the ward to get them through COVID, like has me screaming. It has no reason to exist. It has no purpose. I could analyze this piece of art for ages. Like the dramatic shadows, where are they? Are they on a film set? Is it like this power of 1,000 suns that are raining down on them and they're dancing through it? The gloves kind of look like magician hands. There's just so much here. There's a whole video essay I could write about this one piece of genius, but instead I'm just gonna write a short little poem to end off the week and try and not snort on my jumper while doing it. Let's go. Okay, no one is more surprised than me, but I think I wrote my favourite poem of the week. I used my computer a lot for this, and I'm not saying there's a correlation, but I think having things that spark what you're trying to find is really useful. So obvs, I used Rhyme Zone. I don't always, but sometimes I do. It's a website that literally tells you what words rhyme with what, so if you get stuck, it can loosen your brain again. I also used an article called 50 Famous Dance Fads in the Last 100 Years, a basic dance glossary from lovetoknow.com, and then something called Dance Styles Index, which lists dance styles alphabetically. Who knew? There was so much dance metadata out there. So this poem doesn't have a name because I would like you to name it. Pop into the comments and tell me what you think this poem should be called. Let the silliness ensue. Boogie through the bog, doogie through the drought, twist through the twister, Gangnam through the gout, floss across the finish line, moonwalk across the moat, revel through this rotten life, glisser, glide, float. Charleston through this cruel world, Lindy hop the louts, mambo through the mayhem, tap dance your way out. Barry around your blusters, mashed potato your way home, and if he leaves you mid-monster mash, you can still locomotion alone. Life is just a time warp. A pavement is a stage. A ward becomes a dance hall when you meet the dying light with rage. So Macarena mornings give way to an Allegro afternoon. May your evening be a footloose affair, and your life one big ballroom. So that concludes my week of rough and ready artistic experiments. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope it inspired you to try it yourself, whether that's poetry or something else you haven't really felt invited to, didn't felt like you were clever enough, didn't felt like you were polished enough. Time to do it. Literally, what's the worst that can happen? Life is a ballroom. Thank you so much to Loop Earplugs for sponsoring this video. Heroes among us all, they sponsor my silence every single day. My peace, my inner peace is sponsored by them. If you would like to pre-order my poetry collection, I would encourage you to do so. It's silly, it's fun, it's got illustrations from me inside, and if you pre-order, it one, helps the publisher reduce waste, it helps us know how many that you would like so we don't overprint, and it means you don't have to remember when it comes out. It comes out on the 7th of July, but it will just arrive at your door. You can now pre-order it worldwide. I'll leave the links below. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know which your favourite poem was below. Frog Snug out.